Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah, Kadash, double honors unto the apostles and elders of great millstone who rule well, and shalom to the whole full elect. This video is going to be entitled New Heavens and New Earth, and I'm going to open up with this is 2 Peter 3:13. Nevertheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and a new earth wherein dwelleth righteousness. And that's where we're looking for. Now really to understand why we look to these things, we're looking for a new heaven and a new earth. We have to, why would we be looking for a new heaven and a new earth if this earth is here presently and everything's just fine? Because the answer is because it ain't fine, okay? Now, in order to understand, we have to go back to the beginning, all right? And when we go back to the beginning, what you find is when the Most High made the earth, he gave it the name Eden, okay? Which Eden in the Hebrew, Lashawan Kodash, okay, which Lashawan is tongue and Kodash is holy. So the holy tongue being the Ibayaf, which is the Lashawan Kodash word for Hebrew, okay, which Lashawan Kodash is the Hebrew. Okay, so basically it says in Genesis 2:9, I'll read this and I'll break it down. It says Genesis 2:9, and out of the ground made the Lord power to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food, the tree of life in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And a river, sorry, I was meant to start from 8. And the Lord power planted the garden eastward in Eden. Now that garden that was planted eastward in Eden, it's a day in the land, what would be described as the land of Jerusalem, Yerushalayim, the land of Israel, okay? Because that's where the Most High dwells, it's where he puts his feet, that's where he rests. And there's, a great energy and power there because that's a holy land. As the Lord told, he said his feet rest there in the Book of Kings. And also when the Cush got moved into that land during the time of when the Northern Kingdom got taken out in 2 Kings 17, I believe. Basically what happened is the land spewed out the people that came in, and they were told that by who? A priest, okay, a Levite, who told them the manner of this land ain't as others. There's a way where you must live in the land in order to thrive in the land. So that's how they were taught all the customs of the Israelites in order to actually abide in that land, okay, because that's a great energy there. So this is the same thing. That's why it says in Galatians 4:26, for Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all, because that's the motherland. Okay, that's where man was formed from. And that's why the Most High did this. And the Lord power, Yahweh, planted a garden eastward in Eden, done, which means which means paradise. Okay, so the whole earth was known as a paradise. Now anyone that thinks of a paradise, they think of somewhere like the Caribbean or certain places within the Mediterranean that have plush surroundings, ambient surroundings and whatnot. That's how the whole earth was in the beginning. But where the land of Israel was, where that garden was planted, was esteemed higher than all of them. And there he put the man whom he had formed, okay, Adam, and out of the ground made the Lord power to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food, and the tree of life also in the midst of the garden. Sorry, 1 second. Which is in the midst of the garden, the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And a river went out of Eden to water the garden. From thence it was parted and became into 4 heads. The name of the first is Pison, that is which compasseth the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold, okay, and the gold of the land is good. There is Bethlehem, an onyx stone, and the name of the second river is Gihon, which the same is it that compasses the whole land of Ethiopia. So, you know, there was abundance of mineral resources in the area. Okay, it was a great and pleasant land to dwell in. Okay, and this can't be showed more how great, how pleasant the earth is. You know, we dealt with the land of Israel, where it said the whole earth was known as paradise. So this is the things that are brought forth in the time when the land was at its, you know, in its condition. The earth was first formed, and in the early stages, Numbers 13 and 23, and they came unto the brook of Eshcol, and cut down from hence a branch with one cluster of grapes, and they bare it between two upon a staff, and they brought of the pomegranates and of the figs. So that shows you that two men, and men were stronger back then. Okay, two men had to bear that on their shoulders in order to bring one cluster of grapes. So that shows you the abundance of what the land brought forth. But then when you go into the book of 2nd Ezra, the 5th chapter, it basically speaks about how the earth has been, you know, actually I'll just read it, you know, subsiding in its strength. And just so you know, you see it in here, but I ain't gonna delve with those books. This app, they've added Enoch, Jasher, and Jubilees. They ain't part of the Bible, man. Those books ain't part of the Bible. The Apocrypha, everything else you see from 1st Ezra to 2nd Maccabees, that's in the Word. But that ain't included. All right. 2nd Ezra 5. I'm gonna start from 48. And it reads, Then said he unto me, Even so have I given the womb of the earth to those that be sown in it in their times. For like as a young child may not bring forth the things that belong to the age, even so I have disposed the world which I created. Okay, reading on. And I asked and said, Seeing thou hast not now given me the way, I'll proceed to speak before thee. For our Mother Earth, Jerusalem, the mother of us all, okay, of whom thou hast told me that she is young, draweth now nigh unto age. He answered me and said, Ask a woman that beareth children, and she shall tell thee. Say unto her, Wherefore are unto they whom thou hast now brought forth like those that were before, but less in stature? And she shall answer thee, They that are born in the strength of youth are of one fashion, and they that are born in the time of age when the womb faileth are otherwise. Consider thou therefore also how that ye are less of stature than those that were before you, and so are they that come after you less than ye, as the creatures which now begin to be old and have passed over the strength of the youth. So basically, though the earth, okay, when it first was made, the paradise, that's when it brought forth the greatest of fruit. When you would have reaped what you sowed in the land, the fruit of it would have been abundant. The men, they would have been higher in stature. The women would have been higher in stature. They would have been more of a marvel to look upon. But guess what? Through the process of time, the earth is aged, okay, and worsened in its strength. Now, what you got to understand is as well, the earth also has been defiled. Okay, so that on top of that, the natural process of the earth aging, you have the fact that the land was defiled. Okay, and the first start of this is in the book of Genesis 3:17, where it reads, And unto Adam he said, Because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, Thou shalt not eat of it, cursed is the ground for thy sake, in sorrow shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. So the earth was cursed, going back to the time of Adam, because of the fall of man. All right, but then when you read on into the next chapter, it also tells you about Cain as well. All right, Genesis 4:9. And the Lord said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? Okay. Him being wicked. And he said, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground. And now art thou cursed from the earth, which have opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. And Cain was cursed, all right? When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond thou shalt be in the earth, okay? So he was slated to be a fugitive and a vagabond on the earth as part of his judgment. And it also tells you about the earth being cursed because of what? He slew his brother, and the blood that fell upon it made it defiled. It's the same, and that's why it says in the book of Numbers 35:33. It tells you how blood defiled. You shall not pollute the land wherein you dwell, for blood defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed, least by the shedding of the blood of him that shed it. Loosely paraphrasing. So basically, when you're dealing with Esau, well, Cain, he did that. And what was Cain doing when he was on the earth? He was running around. He said, actually, I'll read on. It says, and Cain said unto the Lord, my punishment is greater than I can bear. All right. And he said, behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid. And I shall be a fugitive and vagabond in the earth, and it shall come to pass. And that's why Esau don't have no face. You don't have no faith, okay? Because the Most High hid his face from him for this act, and he acknowledged it. He said, from thy face shall I be hid, and I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth, and it shall come to pass that everyone that findeth me shall slay me, okay? Because of the way he's looking crazy, like he needs to be slew due to the lack of melanin color, which basically was the curse of Cain. All right, verse 15. And the Lord said unto him, therefore whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain, lest any should finding him should kill him. Sorry, I jumped the gun with that. But basically, they knew of the act that he did and what he had done, and the fact that he had been cast from the face, and that people would have been onto him. But that's why the Lord set a mark upon him. Why? Because the Lord set him up to actually be that wicked man, and even set within his heart to actually do ever so more. Okay, because he told him, look, therefore whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. So if anyone tries to kill, it was known that, look, if anyone tries to kill this man Cain, or any of the Canaanites, descendants of Cain, basically the Lord, through the Spirit, the Spirit's with him being alive, if you try to kill him, he's going to come back at you sevenfold. And what was the meaning of Cain's name? Which is Kwayan, means dagger. Okay, and a dagger is really a weapon of choice. If you want to kill someone, it's usually used in close quarters in a surprise attack. Okay, it's not necessarily a weapon you would come front face upon someone, because you'd have to have a lot of strength and brute force to do that. You'd rather use something like a sword or a spear or something of that effect, where you have some leverage. But Cain, Kwayan, being the sly fox that he is, he pats you on the back, and what you believe is going to be the third pat is a stab in the back, So that's why the Lord set him up. Point being, the Lord set a mark upon Cain, lest any find him should kill him. So you know that, look, don't mess with him. And if you do, vengeance will be taken upon you sevenfold. And that's the same thing today, okay? That same spirit of Cain is in Esau today. And guess what? Anyone to take vengeance on Esau, he's coming back at you with brute force, man. And it's to the point where he knows it, and he just outright does whatever he pleases, okay? Because he got the blessing. And I think I'm just gonna read to the point. I just want to read this. Genesis 27:40. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and thou shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. Okay? So that's when he's going to break the yoke off his neck. But it's showing you, going back to Cain, which is the same spirit of Esau, that, as it says in Proverbs 16:4, the Most High has made all things unto himself, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. And that's the time we're in, okay? Because that's how the earth has been defiled on a greater level through many means, okay? We're not talking about only warfare being and blood being shed upon the earth. We're talking about the way the earth is being handled in general, which brings me to this scripture. You know, Proverbs, Job 9:24 tells you the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. So presently, we know that it's in his hands because of this reason. Isaiah 24:4, the earth mourneth and faileth away. The world languisheth and fadeth away. The haughty people of the earth do languish, okay? And this guy is such a devil that even unto himself, he can't do no good. Okay, so what more the people on the earth, all right? The earth also is defiled under the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant, all right? So this is the reason why the earth is defiled. It says because they have transgressed the laws. The laws, basically the law, statutes, and commandments of the Heavenly Father is the instruction manual on how to live upon the earth and to live abundantly. Now, it's the same with any piece of equipment or anything you may purchase. You're gonna have an instruction manual. If you don't follow it, it don't mean you can't use it. I mean, you may have some use out of it, but to get the proper full use out of it without no problems, you have to understand what you're using. All right. And that's why it says in Proverbs 4:7, wisdom is a principal thing. Loosely paraphrasing, with all that, let me read it, I don't want to butcher it. It says, wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. So, you know, and that's found in where? The Holy Scriptures, the Bible, all right? Therefore have the curse devoured the earth, and they that dwell therein are desolate. Therefore the inhabitants of the earth are burned, and few men left. And that's why the earth is in this predicament that it's in. Okay, because Esau is ruling over the earth. Isaiah 26:10, let favor be shown to the wicked, yet will we not learn righteousness in the land of the uprightness. Will he deal unjustly, and will not behold the majesty of the Lord. Okay, and that's why he's over there in the land, and he's using the sewage system to basically, there's a word, man, but for lack of a better word, water. There's actually a technical term in the back of my mind, I can't remember it, but to water the vegetation in the land of Israel, okay? Because the Lord, because he's basically doing unrighteousness in that land, okay? He's dealing unjustly, okay? This is Psalm 64:1. I'm gonna read on down. The chief musician, a psalm of David, hear my voice, O power. In my prayer, preserve my life from the enemy, from fear of the enemy. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked, from the insurrection of the workers of iniquity, who whet their tongue like a sword, okay, and bend their bows and to shoot their arrows, even bitter words, that they may shoot in secret at the perfect. Suddenly do they shoot at him, and fear not. They encourage themselves in an evil matter. They commune of laying snares. Privily they say, who shall see them? They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search, both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep. Okay, and that's what they do. That's why it's to the effect where Esau ain't only, he ain't just, I mean, he is, in a sense, an idiot, because he's just running around and fucking up the land and the earth. But guess what? He's even having think tanks where he's sitting and trying to understand through what he deems as intelligence the best way, through, you could say, intel, information that he gathers of how to better mess up the earth. And the apostles brought out the point about the frequency, the tuning of music, how prior to the, you know, prior to 1944, I believe is the year. I mean, it was 1955, should I say, where it became an industry standard to tune, to have everything based at the frequency of 440 hertz, as opposed to before having it 432 hertz, that being harmonious with nature, that being a natural frequency that everything thrives at. Okay, so those are things that, you know, that was a key, the key example when I see apostles speak about that brought me to, you know, do this video, because it shows you how diligent they are in the you know, they really have a method to their madness. Okay, so now I want to finish up on these scriptures. Okay, let's go here. Sirach 10. And we know in Proverbs 29:2 it says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. Something to that effect. But here in Sirach, it delves more in depth on that. So this is Sirach 10:1, reading down to verse 4. A wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered. As the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. And what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are they that dwell therein. An unwise king destroyeth his people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be inhabited. Okay, so wherever vibration is at the top is going to be filtered through all levels of that city. Okay, the power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable. Okay, so for the longest time we've been waiting for the Lord to come and basically set this earth in order. And that's why, as I read in the beginning, it said, you know, waiting for new heavens and new earth, all right? Because we're waiting upon the return of Yahweh Shai to set everything up right and have a harmonious, you know, life upon the earth, all right? Because you know Esau's the devil. It tells you that in the book of First Maccabees, but when he came into power, it says evils were multiplied upon the earth. So if they multiplied on the earth, going back to the time of the Greeks into the Romans, and they were taken out of power during the Dark Ages, and even during the Dark Ages, a lot of what they did, Jake carried on in a corrupted manner, basically intermingling, you know, things that have Jake custom alongside, you know, heathenish custom. But then really, when Esau came back, that's when this shit was taken to a whole nother level. That's why it says in Matthew 24 and 21 this. It says, for then shall great tribulation such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days shall be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. Okay, so basically the Lord said that, look, in this time that we're in, if it weren't for the, you know, if Esau was left to rule and the days weren't shortened, basically there'll be no one left to save. And that shows you to what level Esau is dealing with. That's why it says in Revelations 12:12 that the devil knoweth that is knowing that he has a short time, because it tells you in Isaiah 47 that, stand out with thy enchantments that have you've, done since thy youth. That basically they have monthly prognosticators. They basically got people delving into this. They got spirits coming before them, letting them know, aware that, the clock is ticking. And that's why it says the devil, knowing that he have a short time, um, um, cometh down upon you with great wrath. All right, but the elect is going to be saved, because the Lord said what He said. He said, but it said what it said. Let me just read it again. It said, verse 21 or verse 22, and except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. So for the sake of the elect, those days are going to be shortened. Okay. So I'm going to finish on this. Isaiah 14:1. For the Lord will have mercy on Jacob, and will choose Israel and set them in their own land, and the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Israel. So, from verse 3, and it shall come to pass in the day that the Lord shall give thee rest from thy sorrow, and from thy fear, and from the hard bondage wherein thou wast made to serve, that thou shalt take up this proverb against the king of Babylon, and say, have the oppressor ceased, the golden city ceased. The Lord hath broken the staff of the wicked and the scepter of the rulers. He who smote the people in wrath with a continual stroke, he that ruled the nation in anger is persecuted, and none hindereth. The whole earth is at rest and is quiet. See, so it said the earth is at rest for all these things, the wickedness that Esau's done, the pollution, the spilling of blood, the going against the Holy Covenant and everything, the way you're meant to deal with the earth in terms of like the Jubilee, the land, the Sabbath of the land, these different instructions that the Most High gave. The Lord is, those things are going to be re-implemented, and the earth is going to have its rest. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, saying, since thou art laid down, no fellow is come up against us. Okay, so the Lord is going to give the whole earth rest when this devil gets taken out of power. So with that, man, I pray you're edified. Shalom.